Welcome into TheR here at Redskins Park. We are live talking about everything Redskins, looking at what was a tough one on Sunday and also looking ahead to another home game, Green Bay against Washington on Sunday. I'm Perry Mattern alongside some illustrious guests. Gabe Henderson was here with us last week, but welcoming in some new ones, Cal Parson and Stevie Katz. Cal, I actually thought your name was Parsons until I emailed you today.
Yeah, no S at the end of my last name. That's like a pet peeve.
But so Cal works with our charitable foundation. What exactly are you working with? I know you're big in Redskins Fit.
Yeah, so my official title is Manager of Community and Charitable Programs, but basically anything that we do out in the community that involves kids and working with schools directly is sort of right up my alley. Working with the Redskins Fit program, one of our largest in-school programs, in addition to Redskins Read, and then two new in-school programs that we launched last year, Aspire for middle school girls, as well as Loads of Love with the help of Nick Sundberg. So yeah, follow us on Redskins Give Back on Instagram and Redskins CR on Twitter.
Very nicely done. You're already plugging stuff. You know how it goes.
For sure.
And Stevie's joined us just this. Well, you've been here with the radio station.
Here and there, interned, was with the radio station. Now I'm back with RBN, helping with just producing content, helping produce TV shows, kind of being your guys' sidekick, whatever you guys need help with.
Yeah. So tell us where you're joining us here. We'll try to shout out a couple people. Let's shout out Matt Johnson, who's given HTTR from Cali. Let's get this W this week, boys. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, that's our first topic. Bouncing back, Gabe. What do the Redskins got to do to bounce back? Really put that last week in the rearview mirror.
I hate to state the obvious. They have to get the offense going. And to get the offense going, you have to get the run game going. And it's just a trickle-down effect. When you start the run game starts with the O-line. So once everybody starts clicking on all cylinders, I feel like that will help us bounce back and get back on track, because like we really have a dynamic and explosive offense. So if we could start with the O-line, get those guys, hopefully they're all healthy now, and get those guys rolling, I think we'll be straight.
It's one of those things where it's, getting everyone kind of in the right spots and then also getting some momentum. It seemed like last week it was like multiple times the Redskins offense was right on the cusp of something, and then they just had a third down go wrong, and it was like they just couldn't really find the vibe. The vibe was just kind of weird for the offense all day.
Yeah. I agree with Gabe. I think our offense definitely has those explosive, amazing talents. We just got to get into that groove, and I don't think they lost any mentality, but I think they need to maybe have a mindset of that what they had going into the Arizona game. Like, head coach Jay Gruden had never won opening game day. So I think maybe they should try to get back to whatever they were thinking going into that game, going into the Packers, who obviously have Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, and he's
two completely different
I think we did a lot of things right in both of those games. I mean, defense has been playing lights out. Secondary looks great. Just getting that swagger back. That's really what we need to focus on, and I think we can definitely get it done this week.
Shout out to Brian White. He says he's checking in from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's enemy territory. He says the line and running backs free up Alex Smith. And yeah, I mean, that was kind of the tough part too. The running game didn't really get going on Sunday either.
Yeah, and it takes, like I said, it takes that running game to open up the pass. And I mean, the defense didn't really get off to a great start. I hate to change the topic, but the defense, they played phenomenal. But that start with Indianapolis scoring on the first drive, it put a lot of pressure on the offense, and you can just tell the offense felt that pressure, going forward. And I'm not going to say that played into how the rest of the game went, but I feel like that definitely did have an effect on the offense starting fast.
Well, we welcome in Green Bay, and you already kind of mentioned Stevie, Aaron Rodgers, and when you think about the Packers, and it's such a potent offense. Obviously, Aaron's kind of in a little situation where he's working through that knee injury, but it didn't really seem to slow him down last week against Minnesota.
Not at all. I mean, even though he does have that knee injury, he still looked like the Aaron Rodgers that we all kind of always see every week when he's at his peak. And so he just looked amazing, and I wouldn't knock him for anything. I would still obviously treat him like he's the same Aaron Rodgers, like I said, that we know and we might see.
Aaron's tough. He's a stud. And then he gets out of the pocket, and that's his comfort zone. And when he's throwing off his back foot, the whole nine. So yeah, I mean, obviously getting pressure on him early is key, but he can do it all. So.
Well, that was such a good quote from Alex Smith, because those two are obviously always going to be linked. They were in the same draft class. It was who was going to go one. Alex went one, and then Aaron ended up falling deep into the first round before Green Bay got him. But so they asked Alex at the press conference, So, Aaron Rodgers, they go through this whole spiel. He's like, yeah, he's a decent player, right?
Right.
It's kind of real from Alex to be like that. Like, it's big respect for this guy.
I mean, he's arguably the greatest quarterback, if not the best player in the league right now. So, you have to give him that respect.
Isn't he the highest paid right now still, too?
Something like that. But, I mean, just skills alone. I mean, I know we were talking about that knee brace, but DJ Swearinger said it best. It was like, Aaron Rodgers still has an arm. So you do have to use your legs to throw the ball, but at the same time, Aaron Rodgers is going to be
It's probably interesting to game plan, too. Yeah, give a shout-out here to Alex on Facebook. He, hopped in and said he can't get out of the pocket.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get out of the pocket. So, how does that maybe change the game plan when you're trying to rush him?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you throw a few stunts in there, I'm not a coach, so I'm just giving my 2 cents.
Just putting out the football words, right?
Yeah. But if you throw a few stunts in there, that's what Minnesota did last week. They just did some stunts, and they blitzed some different ways, and they switched it up. And I feel like with our defense being so athletic, if you just switch it up and give them a few variations to make them think and confuse them a little bit, that'll definitely work in our favor.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely think so.
So we're only in week 3, and it feels like so much has happened because it's the NFL. So everything is like, it's funny. Gabe and I were watching NFL Network today, and we're like, man, how can they do this for so long? They're breaking down every minute point of everything, and it's just like overload. But so as a result, we get so many overreactions, and there's a lot of things that have happened here in the first 2 weeks that probably won't be happening in 2 more weeks. What stands out to you as an early storyline, Cal?
Yeah, I think no more ties. I don't think we're going to have any.
You don't think we're going to have a tie for a third straight week?
We're going to have any more ties for the rest of the season. Two back-to-back was pretty remarkable. I remember, I think it was McNabb a few years back was like he didn't even know that teams could tie. I think the Eagles tied the Buccaneers or something.
I remember that was pretty incredible. He said that. I was like, how could you not know that, dude?
So I don't think we're gonna have any more ties for the rest of the season. That's my hot take. That's hot.
Wow. Yeah. Don't get too spicy. What about you, Stevie?
So I'm going to say on Thursday Night Football, the Browns are gonna win their first game in 2 years it's been, I think.
Yeah.
So I say they're going to beat the Jets and Sam Darnold.
Bust out the Bud Light cooler. That means they get to open it, and then everyone gets.
Yeah, I forgot about that
Bud Light.
too.
It's. I actually don't think that's that hot of a take. I mean, I'm not necessarily looking for a hot take, but certainly they could win tonight, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they have the talent too. So
They definitely do. I don't think my take is as hot as you guys, but I think Patrick Mahomes doesn't throw for more than 6 touchdowns this week. I think he comes back down to reality, maybe throws an interception, or maybe only throws for 3 touchdowns. He's been steaming hot these past 2 weeks.
10 touchdowns in 2 weeks or something like that.
Yes, pretty good. Again, probably not very hot. He's probably not going to throw for 6.
Yeah, I guess I gave you a disclaimer.
So. I think Big Ben did that a couple years ago. He threw for 6 in one game and 5 the next.
Right.
Like that.
It happens. It happens. I mean, I think the storyline of the first 2 weeks around the NFL, it's got to be Fitzpatrick, right? In Tampa Bay. So obviously, it's not crazy to say that he's not going to keep that up. But I would say, kind of going the other way, I think they're going to be pretty good. They're going to be tough, and that's what's kind of scary about that division, especially a division that the Redskins play this season. And they are. It looks like you knew New Orleans would be good, you knew Carolina would be good, you knew Atlanta would be good. Now if you throw Tampa Bay into this, now that's kind of crazy. It could be the strongest division in football. Tampa Bay we go to Tampa Bay this year. That's a. I mean, Deshaun Jackson looks good, and then Godwin and Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is going to be Mike Evans.
Right, exactly. At all times.
Sleeper in there as well.
Who's that?
O.J. Howard.
Yeah, he can run for. The Bama boys know about him. So let's get back to the Redskins though, and think about this Green Bay game. Who needs to, or who do you think is going to stand out for the Redskins here against the Packers?
I think the tight ends are going to have a good week. I think Jordan looks good. I think Vernon, always throwing him in the mix. I'm definitely looking for a big game from the tight ends. And then secondly, I really hope the wideouts can have a good game. We really need to open up the pass game some more, especially having Alex throw down some deep balls. I know the Packers have a pretty solid secondary. Clinton Dix and Alexander. I think they drafted out of Louisville in the first round. So hopefully we can have a good showing against that secondary.
I'm going to go with our running backs, AP and Chris Thompson.
CT.
I just feel like they had an amazing, outstanding first game. They had, I think, like 161 yards combined or something along those lines. And last game, they just couldn't get it going, couldn't get the running game going. So I think they're going to come in, they're going to be angry, they're going to want to run hard, and I think they're going to have a pretty good game, and I expect them to have a game near like what they had the first game against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, they'll come out like madman. I think the defensive line will also come out like madman also. I mean, you see the Minnesota Vikings D-line last week, they had a few sacks against Aaron Rodgers because, you know, like, I mean, he's not as mobile as he is. And like you were talking about, he's really effective when he's, you know, out rolling. Yeah, I mean, rolling out the pocket and be able to get some space. So I feel like the defensive line will be able to suffocate him in the pocket this week.
Got a good take here from Chris Dooley. Just don't sack Aaron Rodgers, or it's going to be a roughing the passer call. And since the rules of the QB tackling a QB is way blown out, about 5 to 6 INTs will do. Yeah, if the Redskins pick off Aaron 5 times, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape. For sure. So I'm going to go Jamison Crowder. You kind of mentioned the receivers, and the first 2 weeks has been a little tough for that. You know, all the wide receivers, get them back going a little bit. And I think Jamison's had good games against Green Bay in the past. Back in 2016, had a great game against them. And him and Alex just missed on one the other day too. There was kind of a seam route that Jamison ran, and the ball just ended up being a little bit behind him and deep. I think those two, they showed a lot in camp, and I think they have a lot of chemistry. You talked to him today about this.
He's poised for a breakout game this week, I feel like. I mean, it's one of those things, if the line holds up, if the line blocks, I feel like Jamison Crowder and Jordan Reed can both have a successful day in the slot.
Yeah, for sure. So tomorrow night, before we get to the game, though, we got the Runway Show, the Redskins Runway Show. Now, Cal's a big part of this. Obviously, this is a charitable initiative, and just give us a little more background to this, because this is going to actually be live streamed on Facebook and Twitter tomorrow night.
Yeah, 4th annual Runway Show. All the proceeds raised benefit the charitable foundation, specifically our in-school programs that I mentioned before. But really cool event. The guys get really into it. The wives get really into it as well. They'll be modeling.
DJ Swearinger stole the show last year.
Yeah, he had his son.
Him and Jano.
Yeah. DJ had his little boy out there last year. But yeah, really cool event. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so catch that on Facebook, on Twitter as well. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you back again at some point. And Sunday, game at 1 o'clock, pregame show at 12:15 on Facebook Live as well. Make sure to check out all our social channels. We'll have full coverage of the game. For Gabe, Stevie, Cal, I'm Perry. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.